everybody being here. We will call the meeting to order. We do have a quorum. We'll declare it open. If you'll join me, please, in the pledge of invocation.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
If you'll join me in prayer, please. Father God, we're so grateful to serve such a wonderful community and vibrant, exciting town. And Father, we just pray that you give us wisdom as we consider the business of the city. We pray for our first responders, keep them safe. Father, all our city employees, keep them safe with their task. Bless these things in Jesus' name. Amen. All right, council, we have actually two sets of minutes to approve. We've got the regular city council meeting of March 21st, 2022, and the regular city council meeting of April 4th, 2022. Y'all had the opportunity to review those minutes.
I'll move to approve the minutes from March 21st and April 4th as written.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, guys. We are to citizen comments. Does anybody have any comments for the council regarding any action on the agenda this evening? If not, we'll move to the consent agenda. We've got the two-part consent agenda, council, because P&C met. The first one, these items are considered to be routine and to be enacted on motion without discussion. Unless a council member or a citizen requests a specific item be discussed and voted on separately. These items are E4, E5, E6, G4, and F5. Anybody like these broken apart for these?
Mr. Mayor, did you say F5 or G5?
I said G4 and F5.
G4. I don't have it. I don't have a G4. It should have been E.
Okay, so I'm correct.
Yours is correct.
Okay, the correct is red. I apologize. It's different on our pink sheets.
Move to approve agenda.
Okay. Motion second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, these items, the next consent agenda, these are the ones considered routine will be enacted in one motion subject to the staff review letter without discussion unless the council member or citizens request a specific item be discussed and voted on separately. The consent agenda subject to staff review letter includes items G6, G7, G8, G9, G10, G11, G12, G13, and G14.
Mayor, I think those should be F. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. I know. Yeah, I'm not saying what you read is exactly what you had on your sheet. I'm just saying on the agenda, it's supposed to be items
Let's
F.
change the previously read items to F in lieu of G.
If there's no questions, I make a motion that we approve consent double asterisk subject to the staff review letter.
Second. Motion second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. And thank you for your patience.
That rarely ever happens.
Well, it's a new day. Yeah. All right. It was COVID, right? All right, so at this time, we'll open the public hearing. Linda, if you'll read D1 for us, please.
Ordinance 6472, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Sherman extending the corporate limits of said city so as to annex an area of land consisting of approximately 113.414 acres, generally located south of the intersection of FM 1417 Extension and East Lamar Street, adjacent to the Sherman city limits and in the City of Sherman's extraterritorial jurisdiction, on application of the landowner, providing that the owners and inhabitants of the subject area of land shall be entitled to the rights and privileges of other citizens of the City of Sherman, and shall be bound by the acts and ordinances now in effect and hereinafter adopted, authorizing execution of the annexation service plan agreement, providing for a penalty for a violation of this ordinance and Sherman's general zoning ordinance, ordinance number 2280, providing a savings, repealings clause, severability clause, and an effective date, and providing for the publication of the caption hereof, finding that the meeting at which this ordinance is passed was noticed and is open to the public as required by law.
Thank you, Linda. Rob?
Yeah, Mayor, Council, this item is for the annexation of property just east of the city limits, just over 113 acres. The applicants are here to present on the, do we want this or wait till, the applicants are here to present on their proposed development. Luke Motley is representing the development group and is here for this presentation.
Okay. Good evening.
Mayor Flyler and City Council, I represent First Step Homes, and you can see where the development is, growth is coming. This is an affordable housing project that's been in the works for a while. I want to commend the staff. I mean, we worked really hard to get this to this point. I've got Dave Zalechik here, who's the owner, and I've got Marley Phillips here, who's the project manager. We've also had Bowman Consulting, Mia Hernandez, and Nick Hill. They can answer questions. This project is sort of unique, and you're going to see in the video here in a minute. This is designed to bridge the gap between apartment living and traditional home ownership. There'll be over 400 homes out there, and what separates this type of project is the owners. They stay there. They have a community pool. They have a community clubhouse. They don't just build and leave. They stay there, and they require there are certain restrictions as to how you keep things, and you'll see that in the video. And I'm going to introduce Nick Keel now to come up and introduce you.
Good evening, Mayor, council members, City of Sherman. Thank you for having us here. We've got a quick video here for you to show you the development and the annexation we're seeking here tonight. So. So as you can see here, the project location, and about 30 years of experience here at First Step Homes, creating communities and thousands of families across the general Dallas area metro area. Frontera, as you heard earlier, is approximately 113 acres, and we're seeking to annex into the city of Sherman, approximately 405 homes. It'll be a gated community with an amenity center, approximately 3,700 square foot, with a pool, basketball courts, picnic areas, sidewalks. We've got several dog parks, and a lot of open green space in this layout here. So we were here at the Planning and Zoning Commission meeting here in October, where we presented this project, and we received approval for this project to move forward. I'm the engineer of record. We're working right now. We work extensively with the engineering and planning department to make sure that we're meeting all the design criteria and standards of the city of Sherman. And here's just a recap of the ordinance here from the public hearing.
That was the end of the slide. That was the end of the slide. That was the last slide. The last.
So with that, I'll open it up to questions for anyone. And thank you again for your time this evening.
Thank you. We'll get with you for questions in just a few moments. Is there anyone else here to speak on this item this evening? Okay. If not, Linda, will you read D2 for us, please?
Ordinance 6473, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Sherman amending Section 12, Ordinance Number 2280, so as to include certain property within the MH Manufactured Housing District located at 2708 East Lamar Street, being Tract 1, 55.272 acres in the A. Burleson Survey, Abstract Number 61, and Tract 2, 57.070 acres in the A. Burleson Survey, Abstract Number 61. Ventura Verde LLC owner, Marley Phillips applicant, Bowman Consulting Firm, and Underwood Drafting and Surveying surveyor, and NBS Drafting and Design draftsman. Providing a penalty not to exceed $2,000, providing a repealing, savings clause, severability clause, and an effective date. Finding that the meeting at which this ordinance is passed was noticed and is open to the public as required by law.
Thank you, Linda. Rob?
Mayor, Council, this item is for the zone change, or recommended zone change of this property from RA residential agricultural to MH zoning manufactured housing. It's currently not within the city limits, so this recommendation is contingent on the annexation occurring. The developer has proposed, as you have just heard, plating this all as one lot. Streets and utilities would be within the development and would be private. They are requesting the annexation as part of this zone change. The property currently, as it stands now, without being annexed, has access to our city sewer system. Whether they annex into the city and be part of the city, or whether they stay out in the county, that's something that they already have rights to. At the October 19th, 2021 Planning and Zoning meeting, Planning and Zoning approved the zone change 7-0, with it being contingent on annexation. I'd be happy to answer any questions that you all have.
Thank you, Rob. Is there anyone here to speak on this item this evening? Now, Linda, will you read D3 for us, please?
Ordinance 6474, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Sherman amending Section 12, Ordinance Number 2280, so as to include certain property within the C2 General Commercial District located at 4600 and 4608 West Houston, being 5.003 acres in the Elizabeth Jones Survey, Abstract Number 625. Also being all of Lot 3C, Block 1 of the replat of Lot 3, Block 1 of Seasons West Edition, and all of Lot 5, Block 1 of the amended plat of Seasons West Edition. Westar Investments LLC owner, Henry Mariking, representative, and Helby Wagner Surveying Incorporated surveyor. Providing a penalty not to exceed $2,000, providing a repealing, savings clause, and an effective date. finding that the meeting at which this ordinance is passed was noticed and is open to the public as required by law.
Thank you, Linda. Rob?
Yeah, Mayor, Council, this item is for a zone change recommendation from C1 retail business to C2 general commercial. So the property owner can construct contractor offices at this location. They're not planning on changing any of the they're planning on some minor changes to the existing buildings, which are currently warehouses and offices at that location. At the March 22nd, 2022 Planning and Zoning meeting, the P&Z Commission voted to recommend 7-0.
Thank you, Rob. Is there anyone here to address this item this evening? You'll state your name and address for the record, please.
Ron Westervelt, 2410 North Boy Lake Road, Sherman. Here to answer it.
Okay. Thank you, Ron. We'll get with you in just a moment. Anyone else? Linda, will you read D4 rules, please?
Ordinance 6475, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Sherman amending Section 8, subsection 5A, ordinance number 2280, so as to grant a specific use permit to allow a recreational vehicle resort, travel trailer park in a C2 general commercial district, 01, 75, and 82 overlay district, in the 2500 to 2700 blocks of East Highway 82, being 19.172 acres in the Samuel McLaughlin Survey, abstract number 811. VR Estates at Highway 82 LLC owner, MCF Investments LLC prospective buyer, and Copley Land Surveying surveyor, providing that this specific use permit shall be granted subject to certain conditions, providing a penalty not to exceed $2,000, finding that the meeting at which this ordinance is passed was noticed and is open to the public as required by law.
Thank you, Linda. Rob?
This item is for a specific use permit to allow a travel trailer park at the location here on the map shown, just south of 82, east of Frisco Road and the railroad tracks. The SUP is for a short-term travel trailer park. Our ordinance allows for up to 90 days for people to come and park their motorhomes or fifth wheels in a development like this. At the March 22nd meeting, Planning and Zoning recommended approval 7-0. Since that time, staff has updated the SUP with some additional conditions that we wanted to make you aware of. One of which is a condition that the SUP be tied to the applicant, MCF Investments, and the other is to be that it be tied to the site plan that has been proposed. These additional conditions have been included in the attached ordinance.
Thank you, Rob. Is there anyone here to address this item this evening? Yes, sir.
Good evening, Mayor, Council, Matt Moore, Claymore Engineering, 301 South Coleman, Prosper, Texas. Here tonight on behalf of MCF Investments to answer any questions you guys might have.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay, if not, this time we'll close public hearing and we'll consider the adoption of the ordinances. Council, questions, discussion?
Here on D4, so currently we allow 90 days, will this be longer than that? Is that what so it is just still a 90-day?
Yeah, our travel trailer ordinance allows for up to 90 days for customers to
Per travel trailer?
Yeah.
Does that motorhome, RV resorts, do they generate hotel tax, like an Airbnb? You know?
I'm not aware.
I'm not aware that they do, but.
I don't think they meet the definition.
They don't meet the definition?
We will check into that for sure.
Okay, awesome.
All right, any other questions?
I have a question from D4, the landscape plan, are we gonna see that? There was an exhibit B in our notes here, is that? Or can you dive into the landscape plan at all associated with this facility?
Civil engineer, I'll try. No, we did include a concept plan. This site is pretty heavily treed. We're gonna do our best to maintain as much of the existing that we can. Otherwise, we'll do everything we can to meet the other city requirements for street trees and other things. Obviously, shade goes a long way in these type of parks. The actual prospective buyer is owner of a tree farm, so we've got access to some things that I think we can help really separate this from some of our competitors.
Nobody has any other questions?
Before we start, go
Okay,
ahead.
I was gonna ask in regards to Frontera and First Step Homes, to the engineering side of it, are these, since they're pre-manufactured, still hold to our IRC? Does the IRC specifically talk about that for wind shear and hold down stuff like that?
They will have to be built to code, and we do an inspection on them just like we would any other home. We do get the manufacturer specs from the provider, and those help us on that inspection process.
I've got one question about that development as well. I know we said that they currently have existing sewer, rights at the city of Sherman. Water rights, who services water there currently versus, is that one of the third-party outside water vendors, or is the city of Sherman line, are the city of Sherman lines already there?
There is a City of Sherman line along the west boundary of the property. The property actually is in the Pink Hill Water District. However, the owner has talked with Pink Hill and Sherman has had discussions. They're willing to give that up to let Sherman serve that property.
We've got capacity in our well systems there to handle that
Yeah.
load.
A question as well on D1. Will there be this example that was given to us here, will there be a screening wall all the way around this? Or just it fronts 56?
Go ahead.
No, not that I've been dying to get up here and say. According to the city's image zoning, we do have to have screening all the way around the property. I don't remember all the specifics on that. I believe is it 6-foot fence? Is it 8-foot fence? 6-foot fence, so we are planning on that screening all the way around our boundary.
That's a wooden fence, or the example in here, it looks like it was almost a concrete on the outside, or do you have any idea what we're planning here?
On this one, I believe we're planning wooden fence, wood privacy fence.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, I'd say we should take these one at a time, and with that, I would move to approve 6472.
Motion for 6472, do we have a
I'll
second?
second it.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries, thank you, council.
With that, I'd move that we approve 6473.
And I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries, thank you.
With that, I'd move to approve 6474.
Second.
Motion is second. All in favor?
Aye.
For the record, I want to thank both of this and comments.
Yeah, let's get them there. Any no votes on that one? Any abstentions?
No.
All right, we got one abstention. All right, 6475.
Mr. Mayor, I move to approve 6473.
Second.
Okay, motion is second, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries, thank you. Thank you, council. All right, we are to propose resolution 6872. Linda, will you read that?
A resolution of the City Council of the City of Sherman authorizing execution of a professional services agreement with HAP Associates Incorporated for right-of-way acquisition assistance. Finding that the meeting at which this resolution is passed was noticed and is open to the public as required by law.
Thank you, Linda. Wayne?
Mayor, council. So as you may be aware, TxDOT is currently designing construction plans for FM 1417 from Houston Street down to West Travis Street, there by the high school. And they plan on widening this to a 4-lane divided with an extra wide median that can handle another couple lanes being inserted in the future. For these improvements, there's about 33 right-of-way parcels that have to be obtained, and 13 of those we anticipate, some of them we've already gotten by plat or anticipate on getting them by plat soon, or they're property owners that we're very familiar with, friendly with. There are another 20-some parcels that we're not as familiar with the property owners. They may be a little more challenging to get. Due to staff time resources, we're recommending hiring half associates to assist us with acquiring those more difficult parcels. Recent discussions with TxDOT just last week, they're anticipating having their plans sufficiently completed by next March, April, which time they can turn those over to the utility companies to start relocating for the road widening. Of course, we need to have the right-of-way acquired by that time in order for the utility companies to be able to move. This contract with half associates is $164,540. There's money available in the 2017-2021 General Improvements Fund. Of course, this is just the assistance money contract with half. There will be additional funding needed as we acquire the actual land from the property owners. Half Associates is fully qualified to provide these services. We recommend approval.
Council, questions, discussion?
Move to approve.
Second.
First and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Give us a second. Thank you.
All right. Two and three together, please.
Resolution 6873, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Sherman finding and determining the qualifications for a tax increment reinvestment zone, initiating the formation of the tax increment reinvestment zone number 8, finding that the meeting at which this resolution is passed is noticed and is open to the public as required by law. Resolution 6874, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Sherman finding and determining the qualifications for a tax increment reinvestment zone, initiating the formation of the tax increment reinvestment zone number 9, finding that the meeting at which this resolution is passed was noticed and is open to the public as required by law.
Thank you. Linda, Terry?
Yes, these resolutions are the first step in the creation of tax increment zones, one for commercial, one for residential, part of the Heritage Ranch Plan Development. These zones are located at the northeast corner of 1417 and Highway 82, bordered on the east by Travis Street. Zone number 8 is the residential portion on the east side of Plainview. Zone number 9 is the commercial part on the west side of Plainview. The preliminary financing plan for both zones calls for the city to contribute 50% of its maintenance and operation rate to the zone to reimburse the developer for public infrastructure. We also expect the county to participate at 50% of their tax rate allocated to their general fund. The preliminary financing plan follows the same terms that the council has already approved in the master development agreement. So this resolution just begins the process to create the zones. We have 3 more actions at the May 2nd meeting. The first will be to approve the creation ordinance and approve the preliminary financing plan. The second will be the approval of the interlocal agreement with Grayson County, allowing them to allocate their part of the zone, their part of the tax rate. And then lastly, the council will appoint the board of directors for each zone.
At which meeting? The board of
May
directors?
2nd.
So you guys be thinking about which of these zone boards you want to be on. I know it's.
Yeah, they're probably going to try and better you up there.
You probably wouldn't need a list to remind us of which zones and who has the fewest. Please.
We'll
Okay.
get that to you tomorrow.
Make sure you're not absent on that.
Not to remind us, not to remind us which ones we're on, just to remind us who's on the list.
Okay. So the largest zone will be chopped.
All right, council, questions, discussion on these items?
I'll move to approve 6873 and 6874. If there's no other comments or questions.
Second. Okay, we have a two items. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, council.
And I abstain from that vote.
And one abstention. All right, we are to F1. Linda, if you read that first.
Replat approval, Seasons West Edition, Phase 4, being a replat of Lot 5, Block 1, amended plat of Seasons West Edition, Phase 1, and Lot 3C, Block 1, replat of Lot 3, Block 1 of Seasons West Edition, being 5.003 acres in the Elizabeth Jones Survey, abstract number 625, also being all of Lot 3C, Block 1 of the replat of Lot 3, Block 1 of Seasons West Edition, and all of Lot 5, Block 1 of the amended plat of Seasons West Edition. Westar Investments LLC owner, Henry Marikin, representative, and Helby Wagner Surveying Incorporated surveyor, 4600 and 4608 West Houston Street.
Thank you, Linda. Ralph?
Yeah, this item is for a replat. It conforms to all of our ordinances. We have no issues with it from staff perspective. P&Z voted it 7-0 by consent. If you have any questions, be happy to answer it.
Thank you. Council, any questions, comments?
Motion to approve.
Second. Okay, we've got a motion second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Abstain. And one abstention. All right. This time we'll receive an update on the wastewater treatment plant condition assessment results. Tom, good evening.
Good evening, Mayor. Good evening, Council. So in April of last year, we hired Plummer and Associates to council meeting, and basically it was like getting a professional's recommendation on buying a used car. But these guys weren't just evaluating a used car; they're evaluating our wastewater treatment plant and its components. So the project is now finished, and so I would like to present Plummer and Associates to discuss that with you in a presentation. Sir.
Hi. We appreciate the opportunity to do this project with y'all and your great staff at the So the point of doing a condition assessment, like Tom said, is to go through and make sure that you're operating everything and meeting the permit, but technology changes and advances are made, and it's always a good thing to go through and take a holistic approach to see how the plant is really operating, how any improvements that could be made throughout. So we did that in association with Frank McNeil and Associates for structural, and then Dick Weir Consulting for his digester. So the plant priorities, when we got started, were primary clarified number 3, the digesters, the lagoon liner, the electrical power system, the trickling filters, the EQ basin blower building, and the bar screens. After our condition assessment, our priorities were the outfall, the sludge dewatering building, the electrical power system, primary clarifier number 3, the EQ basin and blower building, and the grid building for the fire code. So 3 of those overlap. For the excellent structures and outfall, nothing disastrous or major, but a handrail at the top of the outfall would be good, or a retaining wall along the stairs because there's quite a bit of washout when there's any storms or anything, so there's a lot of dirt and debris on the steps. And then the flume for right before the outfall where there's a meter, the building should be galvanized. The sludge dewatering building, it is a new building and it's operating great, but they used copper piping, and if you go in there, it is all corroding, so we recommend replacing that with PVC. Primary clarifier number 3, recently y'all already rehabbed primary clarifier number 2, and there's a either upcoming or already current project to rehab clarifier number 1, and so clarifier 3 needs to be completely behind those. EQ basin and lower buildings, you have a soon upcoming project to work on some of the north concrete panels of the basin, and we recommend that seams throughout the whole basin are repaired, just to make sure there aren't any leaking problems or anything. And then the lower building itself needs a full rehab. In the brick building, there's a few cracks within the structure itself we recommend rehabbing, and then to meet the fire code, some electrical work needs to be done. So the remaining plant priorities, after we did our walkthrough liners, they were all full of water, and we really recommend that you have geotechnical sampling and testing done to measure the remaining liner that are in those basins to see what the remaining life is. Then the trickling filters, they all need a full rehab if you want to bring them back into service. But with Texas Instruments moving in, that is some valuable square footage of the plant for expansion purposes. Then the bar screens, they're operating great. There's some minor structural repair for cracks that we'd recommend. I know since our visit, baggers have already been installed. And some safety improvements with putting safety chains across openings in the railings for access. And of course, since they have been installed for a while, for the long term, we need to plan for repair or rehab. So this is an example of the risk matrix that's in the report. Not only did we do a condition assessment, but we also did a criticality assessment, and that's based on potential impact to the capacity of the plant, the water quality based on your permit requirements, redundancy of the plant, and how long it would take to repair. And of course, since we're engineers, we have to put numbers to these things and put equations in. And so they were given a score. And that score fell into this table for all of the different treatment trains at the plant. This is the plant, or the report table. And I know it's very busy. You have several projects that are happening or starting soon, so several of those are taken care of. But there are a couple that we would recommend either are immediate, and then we have a near term, and then we develop a long term for the cost improvements at the plant. And this is the full list of what we're recommending. So immediate items that need to be taken care of are, like I said, outfall, which is the retaining wall and the handrail. The sludge dewatering building, replacing that copper piping. Throughout the plant, we recommend changing fixtures to be LEDs because they last for a long time. Then there are a couple items that were based on another report not done by us that we did include in this table, which were for the Texas Instruments expansion. And then lastly, that electrical distribution system upgrade, which was a major concern for the plant and for us after we did our assessment. Then in the near term, it's sealing the seams of the equalization basin, rehabbing that lower building, again, replacing lights with LEDs as you are going through different projects, rehabilitating clarifier number 3, doing the fire code upgrades to the brick building, and then another expansion item for Texas Instruments, which is the expansion of 16 MGD. Then long-term items, doing that lagoon sampling by a geotechnical firm, and rehabbing the decant lift station that's also out at the lagoons. Bar screen rehab, that's a long-term item just to keep in mind because things wear out over time. Rehabilitating the digesters, if you want to keep those in service. Rehabilitating the trickling filters, if you want to bring those back into service. And then the last 2 items for the, again, the Texas Instruments expansion. So all told, our condition assessment items came to $23 million. The very high level Texas Instruments expansion was $208 million. I know that's a walking price. Questions for me?
So, Sarah, tell me about, I'm sorry, my lack of knowledge of sewer plants is going to be quite evident, but you mentioned that the primary clarifier number 3 needs attention. Does it need more or less than our other clarifiers? I mean,
No.
Is this all, I know we've worked with our wastewater staff, and we generally following industry acceptable wear and tear here?
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Okay. I thought we probably were, but I wanted to ask that question because during your presentation, it sounded like that was a bigger deal, and then it popped up on the medium concern list at the end of the day. So I kind of wanted to get an idea. What do those do exactly? I asked you all before, didn't I? Or is this a topic for another day? I mean, just quickly, I don't want to spend, I know the citizens have other things to do.
Right. So wastewater comes into the center of the outside, the water actually gets moving slower and slower and slower and slower. And so that's why the circular shape. And so by the time it gets to the rim, where it's fed over the weir, it's moving at its absolute slowest. What this allows it to do is particles that are in the wastewater to fall out, and they're collected. The bottom of the clarifier looks like a hopper. And so, that's collected by, scrapers underneath and collects that sludge. So that's what they do. And number 3 is the biggest of the bunch. And so normally we don't even run it until we absolutely have to. And so as number 1 or number 2 comes out of service, we put number 3 in the service. And as our flows go up with TI, we're gonna need that.
Okay, now, and you also mentioned we could remove the digesters?
Tricklers.
I'm sorry, I wrote down the wrong, the tricklers.
Clarifiers.
Put in new clarifiers.
Yeah, trickling filters, have not been used in quite some time. I know when there's been major flows that they start spinning, but it hasn't been used.
Okay. So that's something we can remove and use that space for.
If that comes to light in the master plan, once TI is moving in, then that is some valuable square footage in the plan.
Yeah, I think you budgeted a rehab for, but it's a possibility just to.
Yes, and I have that in the long term, as if it's, and the near term for the medium phase for the rehab clarifier is just the next 1 to 5 years, so it's not too far away.
Okay, is that old technology, is that the problem? I mean, are we doing the same thing in other ways?
The trickling filters or the clarifiers?
The,
Trickling.
trickling filters.
It is, there are more condensed things that can be used in that place, so. And it would be a hefty price tag to bring those back. They work just fine, people do still install that rock media type filtration, but it's a lot of square footage and there can be something much smaller in its place.
So overall, we're gonna have to decide, what our path is going forward for treatment, particularly for TI and the industrial usage. And I think what she was identifying is there's some real estate available. We've removed the trickling filters to add, more current technology that's more efficient than trickling filters. But we're not sure that we want to do it at that side, or is there a separate site, a separate wastewater plant that we treat just industrial data? We don't know yet, but this, utility master plan will help us, find some of those things.
Excellent, thank you.
Is that right, Tom? Did I get that pretty close?
Yes, sir, we will conduct a treatability study. We will look and see what we have compared to what we're gonna get, or what we look at.
So the sludge that we have, what do we do with it at the end of the whole
The
process?
sludge comes
Do we
out and
sell
goes
that?
to the digester.
Oh, okay.
It's reduced, it's biologically reduced, through
Say
the
it again?
digestion process.
Oh, okay.
That's what those are for.
Okay.
And just so I know, we're talking the tricklers are the ones we're not using. What's the technology that we use that's not the trickler?
You're not needing it right now.
Okay.
So that's, when there were industrial users many years ago, you needed to have more air put back into the system, and now you don't need those.
Gotcha.
So, and since then, technology has advanced, so there are much smaller things that can be used instead of those. Because I believe they're 100 and 120 feet in diameter each.
I'm not sure how big they are.
So,
Over 100 feet.
yeah. So it's good square footage. That since you are discussing this expansion with Texas Instruments and more infrastructure will likely be needed, it's good space that's right there.
And Tom, this wastewater treatment plant was originally built in what year? 1950?
Early 60s, 1960, 64, the original. It's like, yeah, something like
So
that.
we've added on, but as far as,
It's a classic.
Huh?
It's a classic.
And it's working, so, the water is safe and everything, but then moving forward, so that our citizens understand, we need to decide, we've got a number of new businesses and a lot of new homes coming in. How do we treat all of this wastewater, especially from our industrial customers? And so that's why we're looking at it, it's not like this plant has been around for a long time, it served us well. Is there a way to fix this one?
The process is gonna be the similar. A wastewater treatment plant, all we're trying to do is model nature and make it work on a faster
method.
Yeah,
That's basically what it is. And, when water flows over the trickling filter, it's like flowing through rocks in the creek. It cleans itself as it goes through each process. And, ultimately, we have a discharge permit, that the state gives us. We have to meet that permit. How we get to B, from A to B, is up to us. And right now, the plant's rated at about 16 million gallons a day, average daily flow. And, so we're predicting that flow is going to go up. And if we go up, we're gonna have to make some improvements.
Might have to take that field trip for that.
Yeah.
I've already done one.
But it's definitely worth your time to do it. It's
Yeah.
Very interesting.
It's different than the other.
Right.
Hopefully so.
Yes.
Okay. I would have lost a lot of money on a bet of how much time we were gonna spend talking about wastewater. I love it, because I can talk about it all day.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
This has been a crappy conversation. Okay, next item, we receive quarterly business report, quarterly progress report from Sherman Economic Development Corporation. Yeah, good evening.
Okay, we're over.
Follow that, Ken.
Oh, boy.
Mayor, council, thank you all for allowing me to come and present the quarterly report for Cedco. I think each of you have had the written report contained in your packet, so I won't go over everything. Kind of do it like we do, like I've done in the last quarterly reports, just give the highlights. Of course, our mission at Cedco is still the same, is to grow and diversify the economy of Sherman and the surrounding area through the addition of new jobs and investment of primary employers. Some of the highlights under the accomplishments of the board with the past quarter, the board approved a resolution authorizing a letter of intent for Project RAP. That is a project that is proposed to be located in one of the progress parks in that general area. We're still kind of in executive session material with this, so we're not ready to name the name of the company, but they agree with the project and they're ready to. We're moving forward. Our city folks are talking to their engineers and architects, trying to get a site plan determined. So we're a long way down the road on that. Cedco also authorized resolution 2022.02, and this is the partnership that Cedco entered into with the city to reimburse the city for, and I'm going to get this wrong, is it Cedco Coke, for the alignment study for Progress Drive and Flannery Road from Progress Drive down south to Shepherd Drive. Let's see. This is a cool one. We were recognized. Show and tell. So this is a surprise award for us, but we were recognized by the governor, or awarded by the governor, the 2021 Technology Impact Award. Technology is one of the sectors. He just happened to, Senator Springer and Representative Smith actually came and presented the award to us, but the governor happened to be in town that day, so we got to go over and shake his hand and do the photo off. But kind of it's a neat deal. We're proud of it. Down, let's see. Go to the next page. Ashton and Shannon just got back from the MDM West Trade Show in Anaheim, California. This was a new kind of trade show. Basically 5 different industrial trade shows merged into one, and they had this last week with Team Texas and Encore asked us to go along and sponsor us on that trip. They had a great week, had a lot of contacts in California. So getting back today and doing a recap on that, they said they had a really productive trip. We're going to host the second quarter plant manager and safety leader forum this quarter, as well as host a leadership breakfast in June. We've got a brand new website that we're launching, so be looking for it. I think you'll be really impressed compared to our old site. It's got a lot of new information, new formatting, just a fresh current look at the way Sherman to the industrial community. Let's see, we hosted the RISE Challenge Awards, so we're gonna host the RISE 2022 RISE Challenge Awards. This is our entrepreneurial competition that we started last year. Didn't have any applicants because of the COVID year. This year we had 5 applicants, cut down to 4, and there are 3. The judges came together, and there are 3 companies that will be awarded an allocation. The judges awarded them allocations. Remember, the minimum allocation is $25,000. The maximum is $100,000. That ceremony is tomorrow at Austin College, so we hope you all got the invitation. Would love to have you guys come out and participate in that. It'll be a fun exercise, and this is just, again, trying to encourage and spur that entrepreneurial ecosystem in Sherman. The board met, we meet the second Tuesday in each month. It was January the 11th, February the 8th, and March the 8th. 100% of the quorum was present at each meeting. There were no members less than 75%. And finally, we are currently working 10 active projects. Current CapEx of those projects would be $6.5 billion. Of course, most of the council, all the council knows the one large one that we're working on. We got invited by the governor, myself, and Virginia Schaefer with Texas Instruments, so we got to go down to the governor's mansion with some other EDCs across the state and watch him get awarded the governor's cup for the 10th time in a row this year, which that was a neat event to get to go to. We're working with a lot of media on our videos. Ashton, Shannon, and Brandy are really pouring into social media. One of the bullet points you see, we sponsored a total of 6 ads on the Sherman TX Jobs. We had a total reach of 47,000, a total link clicks 1,040, and total post engagements was a little over 20,000 people. So our social media is really starting to build up. We're trying to shift that more towards workforce, attracting workforces as opposed to companies. And we're having a pretty good response rate on that. And of course, those things, as you know, get better as they age and grow over time. I mean, we just started doing this just a few months ago, so we anticipate those numbers to get better and better. And then Shannon completed Texas Economic Development's, the council's basic economic development course just a couple of weeks ago. So she has now been through basic, and we've got a great team, great staff. I'm very proud of them. They're very productive. They do a lot of hard work, and we're just excited. So with that, I'll just answer any questions that you may have.
So things are going good then?
Things are going great. We're happy. Good stuff.
All right. Yeah. What's that? War, man. I thought you were leaving it for City Hall. All right, we are to council comments. Justin, I'll start with you.
No comments tonight, thank you.
No comment. None for me. All right, just a few announcements. Applications for program year 2022 CDBG projects are due by Friday, April 29th. There are 2 forms to be completed: the Community Development Block Grant application for funding and organizational information. CDBG year 22 application. Both forms are found on the city's website under Neighborhood Service. For questions, please contact County Department. The annual Texoma Birthday Festival will be held in Cedco Park on April 23rd. They'll have lots of vendors and activities on hand for the whole family. Sherman Parks and Recs will hold their Touch a Truck event. It's always well attended on April 30th this year. It's a great chance to bring out the kiddos and see some really neat machinery from a variety of city departments. The event starts at 10 a.m. Finally, tonight, it's not too late to get your tickets for the Sherman Symphony Orchestra's final concert of the season on Saturday the 30th. Come out and help support one of our most exceptional local organizations with a fun night at Cedco on the 12th. Concert will begin at 7:30. All right, the City Council will now hold a closed executive session pursuant to the Texas Open Meetings Act, section 551.087, to discuss Shepherd
was debating 5:45 or 6. Maybe 5:50. Nope, 6.